The bold kidnapping of 276 schoolgirls by Islamist insurgents is shocking, but unfortunately, it's nothing new. Nigeria's Boko Haram have busted into schools before to disrupt what they call sinful Western education. And this isn't just in Nigeria either. You'll recall the recent story of the 14-year-old Pakistani teenager Malala Yousafzai, who was shot in the school bus that she was riding to go to school. She is now an advocate of women's rights and a teenage activist. But this situation certainly not new, and one that is very serious for all girls in Muslim majority countries. For more on this issue, we are now joined by Manda Ervin. She's the founder and president of Alliance of Iranian Women. And Manda has a new film out, and it is called The Honor Diaries. It features 9 women's rights advocates with connections to Muslim-majority countries who are trying to fight for gender equality. Manda, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Manda, I'm sure through your film, through the filming of it, you have come to hear a lot of stories about gender inequality. We've heard the stories of Malala Yousafzai and these more than 200 Nigerian schoolgirls, but I'm sure you've heard more. Just how big of a problem is it in Muslim-majority countries for young women to get an education?
Well, let me give you a big, broad picture. That 1 billion with a B of the world's women and children live under gender apartheid. It's living under slavery, total slavery, where women and girl children and the boy children are properties of men. That means if they own a computer, the wife and the children are the same, treated as the same, the furniture in the house or the house, they're all, and the wife and the children, all in the same category as far as the rights of the men in Muslim majority or Islamist ruled countries are concerned. So this is nothing new, absolutely.
Manda, explain to us what exactly Boko Haram and the terrorist group that shot Malala, what exactly is their issue with girls in particular receiving education?
Well, actually, most of these men, patriarchal hierarchy or misogynist old men, I presume it's the weakness that they feel. And so therefore, if they keep women uneducated as slaves with no rights, they feel more important. And they are using a law called Sharia law that we have all heard. I have heard it. I fled from it from my homeland in Iran in 1979 when Khomeini Islamists took over. So this issue of Sharia law that these people use, and they say this is a holy law and we have to obey the holy law. This is not holy. It has nothing to do with religion, really. When in I'll give you a short history for your viewers, that in 7th century, when the Arab Najd who came from the peninsula we call Saudi Arabia today, when they began creating this huge bloodthirsty military, and they took over all the ancient civilizations in Middle East and in Southern Asia and all the way up to Central Asia and all Northern Africa, these rules and rulers had to have a law to rule the empire that they had acquired by force, by bloodshed, and dictatorial manners. So this law was created by the rulers of Islamic military to run the empire, the Islamic empire. And it has nothing to do with holiness at all. It's man-made, made by a group of men in 7th century, and therefore, but today they are using it for intimidation of the rest of the world who's opposing and protesting what they are doing. They say this is our holy law, which is an absolute lie, and it's not a holy law, and nobody should abide by these laws, especially in 21st century, where there is democracy, human rights, equal rights, tolerance, and all of these issues that these people are refusing to accept.
Manda, the name Boko Haram actually means Western education is sinful. So, in this particular case of the kidnapped girls, I assume that the boys in Nigeria are also being educated in the same way. Why is it that the boys are left untouched?
Well, actually, boys are going to grow up to become men. So therefore, men should be able to read and write, but women should not. Because if women learn to read and write, they can read and they can understand that they should have the same rights that boys and later men are having. And therefore, they will not accept the rule and dictatorial slavery that their lives will be managed under. So that's why, actually, even for boys, they don't teach them to read, to write. Most of the time, they only teach them to read Quran and nothing else. And so the more uneducated and ignorant the people are, they are easier to be managed, influenced, and ruled. And so that's obvious why they are opposed to education, enlightenment, and democracy totally.
Manda, you say that the Sharia law or the twisted logic that these terrorists have in kidnapping and trying to hurt young girls is not what Islam is about. That in fact it's the total opposite, and it's a distortion of what Islam is truly about. However, when episodes like the Boko Haram kidnapping or the Malala Yousafzai shooting happen, it captures the world's attention, and it unfairly and negatively puts light on a peaceful religion. How is it that these groups, Boko Haram, Al Qaeda, Taliban, are able to turn the world's attention so negatively to Islam?
Well, one of the main issues of my activism is about human rights of women and children. When we talk about women, to them, women begin at the age of 9. In the civilized world, we call 9-year-old girls children. And so therefore, the issue of gender apartheid is against women and children, because when girl children are hurt, boy children are hurt also. But one of the main issues is that today, I'm sure you heard about the Sultan of Brunei and what he decided to do to implement Sharia law in his country, which is also sad. But unfortunately, our world today, the Western world, the civilized progressive world, is totally ignoring what is going on against 1 billion women and children.
Manda, we have to end the conversation here, but certainly it can continue. Tell us a little bit about your film, where our listeners can learn more about it.
Well, this Honor Diary is actually not my personal film, but it's a film that I was a member of. We 9 Muslim activist women who have suffered the consequences of Sharia law got together. We're all activists. We got together maybe to make a movie and talk about the atrocities that are being done to women and children under Islamic rules, and bring their voice to the Western society, and maybe Western women would support them. So it's called Honor Diary. We're trying to show it. It has won an award, and we have tried to show it at the universities. But then the lobbyist organization of the Islamist powers to be in Washington have been trying to stop the viewing and screening of our movie. Even Ayan Hershey Ali, who is a scholar at the Harvard University and has been a woman who has suffered personally as a result of gender. I don't want to continue the word. She was supposed to be receiving an honorary doctorate, which they forced the university to take back the honorary doctorate. The University of Michigan canceled the screening of our movie, and it's all because of the organization called CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations, who is the lobbyist organization for the Islamic Sharia ruling misogynist governments that are lobbying in America and trying to push Sharia law in America, unfortunately.
All right, Manda, we have to leave it there. Our guest today has been Manda Ervin, who is the founder and president of Alliance of Iranian Women. She and 8 other women's rights advocates have a new movie out. It's called Honor Diaries. For more on that, you can visit http://honordiaries.com. Thank you so much for your time today, Manda.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.